because as I was asked by Ellie to participate in the 2020 conference, they said, well, you got to talk to Bryce Lambert because he's done video and audiovisual stuff before, etc. So when I was in Edmonton this summer, I made a point of meeting with him after we communicated online, and I met him in his office and we started talking, and he told me his whole story and how intricate he has been involved with Rotary already. And I said, well, are you a member of a Rotary club? He said, no. I said, nobody asked you. I said, I just did. And I did. I asked and said, would you like to join Rotary? And here he is. It's a prime example of how important it is to ask people, because some of them have never heard or thought about it or whatever. You ask them and then they said, yeah, I've been, very interested to do that. So Bryce, you have the honors. You can play now for the next 15, 20 minutes and do your thing, tell you about, oh, you don't have that much material. You have never been caught silent anyway. So take it away. Welcome.
All right. Well, 15, 20 minutes. I could fill that, but you'd probably be tuning out pretty quickly. Yeah. So my name is Bryce Lambert. I am the owner-operator of Kiwi Productions. We are an audio-visual production company that provides screens, projectors, sound systems, for events, live events, presentations, typically corporate. We also do webcasting and video production. Webcasting's become like a huge part of our business these days with so much going mobile. We can kind of bring that whole broadcast quality, television quality, like you'd see in the news, to live events, which has been a really big thing for a lot of corporate events. Reason I'm late was we're doing actually a presentation with Rachel Notley and Rick Mercer as a keynote speaker on Thursday, and we do that set up over at Shaw Conference Center in Hall D for 1,040 delegates. So we will be putting in all of our PA, our lighting, our screens, our projectors. We make that room look really nice and sexy for its delegates. And a lot of those people, well, actually all of them are from Industrial Heartland, which is a real big deal with the oil and gas sector right now here in Alberta. And there's some pretty hot topics just with the current economic situation that's been going on here in Alberta and Canada, and just with our government and whatnot. So anyway, so that's kind of what I do. And I organize everything, making sure that presenters have all their needs met. So what kind of microphones they need, make sure their presentations are clean and crisp and they show up well. Audio is really well and done well in the room, and then as well as the overall look of the room, which is really important to. We do a lot of design, different kind of graphics, all that sort of stuff. I'm just kind of trying to, I didn't really get a chance to go too hardcore into preparation. I'm kind of going off of just some of the stuff that I remember from the classification talk breakdown. How my classification or how my job would be, I guess, influenced by government, technology. Technology is always changing, so that's a big thing with our field. We're always updating, consistently updating, and every time we update 6 months later, generally we're out of date, so we got to update again because that technology moves so fast. My job and it was kind of a great way to be introduced into Rotary. And speaking of some of the things we've done with Rotary in the past, with Leo Seguin, we went overseas to Ethiopia and we did some documentary work for him. We covered some of his projects, captured, followed the money, captured what that money was doing. How that way the donors can actually see, when we donate, this is where it goes, this is the impact it has, and that was a great job to be part of with Rotary, just to well, for a couple of things. For me, I mean, going to Ethiopia and to see a country like that and to see the work that Rotary does, and where some of that money can go and the impact it has was extremely impactful for myself. Seeing those people firsthand, touching, shaking hands, just meeting them, seeing their situation. So that was pretty impressive, and so that's always been a driver for me to get a little bit more involved in Rotary. Before that, for 17 years now, I've been doing the audio visual for Bunny and Dick Arts Rotary Dinner Theater out in Westlock. So we've provided the sound, video, lighting for their 9 shows that they've been producing for the month of October, which is through their dinner theater. And yeah, that's been amazing. Again, like that whole group is like my family. My daughter was born during that show. She was part of the show the last 2 years. So that's been huge too. And so Rotary's been pretty like pounded into my bloodstream over the last 17 years. And so I'm like super excited, super honored to be a part of this. And myself and Peter have been going over conversations in the last, or actually our last conversation, and just kind of exploring some of the options that we can bring forward, carrying forward to help Rotary clubs grow, and just some of the cool things that are out there for communicating, getting people more excited, more engaged, and hopefully capturing some of that youth that we're looking to bring into the bloodstream, and and see where it goes from there. Let's see, ethical issues was another thing that was on that list that I might face with my work. Ethical issues would be knowing when to keep my mouth shut when I disagree with some of the stuff I hear. Our government officials, lawyers, stuff like that. With my job, it's pretty exciting because I never is it the same. It's never stale. One day we'll be doing something for police services. The next thing we'll be doing something for the Liberals. The next day we'll be doing something for the NDPs. The next day we'll be doing something for, local government. It's always changing. And so there's some days where you want to stand up and be like, wait a second, but you just got to keep your mouth shut because you're a neutral party. Those are my ethical issues that I face with my job. It's great because I get a very large scope of, I'm never an expert in anything, but you hear all these different things and how they all work. And, like some days you'll be doing jobs with like sewer and plumbing and city planning, and it's amazing. And different scales, large scale, small scales. And then with the webcasting and conferencing, we bring people in from all over the world. Like on some of our conferencing stuff, we can have up to 100 delegates visiting from all over the world, and scheduling all that and making it all work. But then hearing like just some of the stories. Actually, during the Rotary conference, the last Rotary conference at Shaw Conference Center here, just this last bit, while you guys are having your conference, I was downstairs with the UN, United Nations, talking about safe cities, safe places. Mostly in particular with women and being safe, and designing and producing safe places and safe cities. So that project right there, you're meeting people from all over the world in all different walks of life, and just hearing like stuff that you're like, that's no way that exists in the world, like, or that problem, or things like that. And then you meet these people and you're like, wow, like they do. And that's, you think that as a species, we're further, like we're up here, but we're still pretty down here sometimes in some places and in some areas. And that's always eye-opening and humbling, as well as emotional, and trying to figure out like, just where you sit in that whole picture. What else? I guess the biggest thing, which is still, we're just kind of starting to launch this now in January. We're hoping to launch January 25th. We have built a full-scale broadcast studio in our space. I've actually given our Tuesday Sips a little bit of a sneak peek tour of it. And we've got lots of ideas for that, especially for Rotary. So what we've designed is an actual broadcast space. It's soundproof. It's customizable to a wide variety of shows and productions. We're basically doing television. So what you see on TV, we've got TV walls, video walls, green screen spaces with all of our cameras. And we put on TV shows now. So starting January 25th is when we're going to be launching officially. we'll be doing a large press conference and a press release, and inviting event planners and professionals, communications professionals, industry leaders in technology and communications, basically from all over Alberta into our space to do walkthroughs and explore opportunities to help them spread their message professionally, efficiently, and faster. The reason we started doing this, we saw a real niche in the market where people were doing production, they do videos, and they would take to do a professional grade video, it would take a month to get anything shot, edited, color corrected, and sent out. The way we've designed this space, because it's designed around the television world, we can bring people in, we can pre-shoot your content a week before, you can send us your script the day before you come in, look straight at the camera, you say your script, we punch in your B-roll over top of it, and you can leave that day with a video. So it's a very quick turnaround, but more importantly, it's like television broadcast quality. Lighting, the digital video wall is huge. You could sit down in our studio and I can make it look like you're sitting in Egypt and the pyramids are behind you. So it's pretty cool in that sense. Digital sets as well, just like you see on any of your favorite sports shows, CTV, Global, CNN, BBC, so that kind of stuff. So that's a really exciting thing that's for us is launching. And we see some potential there with Rotary and spreading messages, for the organization as well. So, that's what else? Ethical, technology and government. I have some little notes on a post-it here.
A little bit about your family.
My family. I think I kind of got swept up in some of the other topics here. I have a beautiful wife. She's from Fiji. We've been married for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old daughter who is going on 13. Love her to death. She's usually part of all of our fellowship sips, our coffee sips there on Thursday mornings. She gets up bright and early with me and hits the gym, and then she has breakfast and joins us for our meetings. She's a little doll. She's actually upstairs passed out. She got to spend the last couple of days with Grandma and Grandpa and go see horses and ride in tractors and all that sort of jazz at the farm. And my wife's from Fiji. Very smart, beautiful, of course, love of my life, and super supportive. And that's pretty much it. I grew up in Westlock. I guess I get a little bit of history. Grew up in Westlock, Alberta, about 75 clicks north of Edmonton. Went to RF Staples there, where I took just theater and drama. I've little known fact, I've never gone to school for anything that I do right now. I'm all self-taught. I started my company in grade 11. I was a pretty big keener. I moved out when I was 14. That was a big thing back in the day. I'm a pretty independent guy. I like getting things done. I don't like, I'm a pretty, just get it done. I don't talk too much. I just, obviously that's a lie. I'm talking like the wind, but, I like to get it done. I don't like messing around too much. And that's pretty much it. Excited for Rotary 2020. I know that we've been discussing some pretty cool plans and some neat ideas, talking about entertainers lately, and looking forward to participating a little bit more. I know I got to get some of my ducks in a row here when it comes to meeting attendance and all that sort of jazz. Cracking the whip on myself, but it's got to just get to it. So. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. Is there anything else, Peter? Oh, you're muted.
I'll open it up and we have time for 3 questions. Anybody raise your hand, your real hand, not your virtual hand, if you have any questions for Bryce to ask. David Werrett. Hey, unmute.
Yep. Why did you pick the name Kiwi Productions?
I should answer that question. So the Kiwi came from my very first show. I'd never looked at a soundboard. I'd never looked at a video board, nothing. And my very first show, I got tossed into the sound booth at RF Staples. I was about 15 years old, and because they had no tech. And I was pretty good in communications technology. So our very first show was a one-act theater festival for 3 days where all of the schools in our district came together to our school and had a one-act play festival for 3 days. So I jumped into the booth, and our adjudicator, the lady that marked us on our performance and how we handled ourselves, all sort of jazz, she could never remember any of our names. Like, she was like horrible remembering names. And as techs, we had to wear all black, and I wore an all black shirt with a green Nike symbol in the center. And she said, well, that reminds me of a Kiwi, so I'm going to call you Kiwi. And our lighting tech, he had spiky blonde hair, and he was named Pineapple, and his girlfriend's name was Strawberry, and all that. So it was like this whole theater thing. And so then when at the end of all the shows, she would call on our headsets fruit salad, and we'd all meet in one spot, and then she would give us our mark on that. And so the name just never went away. Like I ran that theater for another 3 years after that, and I just always introduced myself as Kiwi because it was a theater thing, and most people didn't even know what my real name was until it was time to sign the check, and it just stuck. It's like, it's good. It's kind of horrible for marketing, but it's good because people remember it, and so yeah, that's kind of how the Kiwi name came.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, Delvin?
All right, Bryce, tell us what kind of mischief you got up to in front of the green.
Bad sound.
Oh, sorry,
Bad sound.
I missed that.
Tell us what kind of mischief you got up to in front of the green screen.
Well, there's all sorts of stuff. Actually, here, let me.
Can you repeat? Sorry. Can you repeat the question? Because I never did hear.
Sure.
Right?
He was asking what kind of mischief I've gotten up to in front of the green screen.
Oh, Delvin, that's a bad question.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
That's a
show
good
you
question,
something
actually.
I'll show you something kind of fun here, actually. Try not to take up too much time. So this was when my baby girl was about, I don't know, she would have been 4 or 5 months, I think. Let's see here. So that's shot in front of a green screen. And so that's shot in front of a green screen. That's my baby girl. She's probably about 4 or 5 months old. And what that contraption is that I'm wearing is it's a Steadicam vest. So it's a vest that I wear with that arm on it that has a spring, and I set a camera up on it, and then I can actually like run with that camera and it'll stay perfectly steady. So we took one of those baby harnesses that they have at Walmart, cut the straps off it, mounted a steel plate inside with a pipe, and then mounted her to it because she was just light enough for it. And so that's kind of the fun stuff. But yeah, the green screen, it can get pretty fun. I haven't messed a lot myself with it. I know now that my girl there, but now that it's up, Katana, we can have so much fun with her. Sorry, that's my daughter's name, Katana, like the Japanese sword. And we can have tons of fun with it because we can put her in front of lava or swimming with sharks or, you know, anything. It's pretty much endless. Actually, Peter, do I have time to show a quick video?
Yeah, you can.
Sure.
Okay. I could show this one. So this is just kind of some of the scope of some of the stuff that we do.
Are you intending to play some music with it too? Because you probably didn't check off those boxes when you first went.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like a little breakdown of some of the stuff that we do.
Okay, can you stop sharing? All right, one more question, then we're done with him. Anybody else has a question?
I was just going to comment.
Good.
If Bryce was there around Rotary for 17 years, Peter, congratulations on being the first one to ask him about.
I don't know whether I was I don't know if I was the first one, but I was the most successful one.
No, you're the first
that's
one.
all that counts. That's all that counts.
That's right, and we're happy to have him on board, not just because of the AV connection, but just because I got to know Bryce a little bit now since the summer, and awesome to have you on board. It's
yeah, and I think the big thing with not being asked before was just I'm a pretty busy body. Like I'm all over the place all the time, and their biggest thing was not being able to attend the meetings. And so that was the biggest thing. And I mean, 17 years ago, I don't think any of the e clubs existed. So then, once this came about, it was kind of like the ideal fit. So
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Bryce, thank you so much for a great presentation, and we all get to know you a little bit better, what you do, and we're looking forward to help you in any way we can with all your business stuff, because I know every time Rotary is in it, we'll be getting advertising, free advertising.
You betcha. Absolutely.
I think, anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Next,